This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Business is when you have a sustainable team that manages a set of processes with the amazing team that knows what they need to do on every position, and they have their own standard processes.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening or where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, NaRon Tillman, and you are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory. Speaking of victory, walk.
Warning, this is a public service announcement. The Walk in Victory podcast is where we have conversations purposed to evolve lives. You may not want to evolve. Then tune into another bleeping podcast. Everyone else, enjoy the show. And here's our host.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening. I don't know where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, NaRon Tillman, and you are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory. My biggest fear for this AI era that we're living in right now is that people are going to miss the boat. We have we have about a 3.5 year window of opportunity. If you're a parent and you're trying to get your son or your daughter to go back to college, encourage them. College may not be for them. Encourage them to take some prompt engineering classes, encourage them to get at the forefront of this AI thing, because it's not coming back. And those who take advantage of this opportunity, because we read the headlines, and this is what I tell people when it comes to finance, financial literacy, stock investments. When you listen to MSNBC and you listen to all of those things, they don't really have an inroad to someone that can really guide you or coach you. By the time they're talking about it on TV, it's too late. By the time it becomes a headline, you missed it. What they're trying to do now is to flood the market with the masses so that those who are already at the top, think of life as a pyramid scheme. I've heard of like those pyramid selling schemes. I was a part of Amway, and they get you in those meetings and you're like, they show you the headlines. Oh, this guy sold. Then you go to the guy's house and he got all of the products in his basement, right? He didn't really sell. He just was trying to get the chip, get up front, and there are people that make it from those businesses. So I'm not denouncing multi-level marketing businesses. But I do know that they are difficult to scale because you always have someone in front of you. And anything that you always have someone in front of you is really like a job, because they don't become your mentor in a way like they want to see you succeed. They become your mentor in a way that they want to keep you under them so that they can continue to grow with you. So they're looking at you as an opportunity to scale. This is not what this is. This is innovation in a way that we've never seen before since the .com boom. I was too young. I'm 50, so I probably wasn't too young to be involved in the dot-com boom. I was too ignorant. I didn't have anyone like me to sit down and tell me. So I went and I took like C plus, A plus classes to fix the computers and like I wanted to. Oh, people need websites. I learned little design and all that. I wasn't at the forefront where and I was a part of the dot-com boom because when our first business, if I would have had a mentor to say, hey, get this knowledge because we're moving from yellow pages to World Wide Web. I'm old enough to remember when we used to have to plug in the phone cord and it go.
Mhm.
And there was people my age changing their lives. One simple idea. It doesn't it doesn't take. I'm a baseball guy. You don't have to go on a hitting streak. You could be a bum and just hit a home run at the right time, and they'll always watch it. Kirk Gibson. Not saying that Kirk Gibson was a bum. 87, and then I'll bring in our guest. 1987. The Mets off the heels of a World Series. They had two of the brightest young stars in baseball. We had a great team, great chemistry. So we thought until we started to figure out all the history behind it. And I wasn't even 10 yet. I'm 80, I was born in 75. So I was like 12 years old. And I'm thinking because I experienced the Mets won the World Series. That was my team. We was going to win the World Series every year. And nobody could tell me anything different. The Dodgers had a hitter named Kirk Gibson. Kirk Gibson was hurt. He was playing on one leg. They was down to their final, like it was almost over. Whoever won this game was going to go to the World Series. And the reason why we had the advantage is because Kirk Gibson was their slugger and he was hurt. He really couldn't play. Tommy Lasorda took a chance and he let Kirk Gibson come up to hit against our main closer. So our main closer is supposed to take him out. He's only on one leg. First pitch, Kirk Gibson swings. He almost falls. I mean, if you go and watch the at bat, he's like grimacing. But it was something in Kirk that he said, I only have one leg, but if I can just see the ball and get some good wood on the ball and put the ball in play. I don't even think he was looking to hit a home run because it's almost impossible to do what he did with one leg. He's hobbled, and I'm telling you, if you watch it, he couldn't even hardly run around the base paths. And he hits the home run, sends us home. It was a catalyst, a part of what sent us home. And he couldn't even hardly make it around the bases. You don't have to make it around the bases. If you can just find your niche in this AI, you have about a 3.5-year window. You can find your niche, you can change your life. Yvonne, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you, NaRon. Very happy
No,
to be
I'm
here.
happy to have you. I've been having these conversations a lot, and I'm not a big techie guy. But tell the people what you do and what it is that you do for a living. And you can either expound on what I said, tell them I'm making it up, I'm a false prophet, or whatever you have to say. The floor is yours.
No, man. I really agree with you to the core because I do believe that AI is definitely going to change our world, especially the world of digital marketing. I think any technology advance, we feel it first and foremost because usually first it makes it into the IT world, which we're part of, and then only then it trickles to other areas. So very briefly about who we are and what we do. My company is Comrade Digital Marketing Agency. At Comrade, we help local service businesses grow by getting them more qualified leads to be like completely, to break it down to complete like level, right? And we help them generate new clients. How do we do this? Through main three digital marketing pillars, which is we build websites that are designed to convert visitors into clients. We improve visibility with the SEO and content marketing, and we run paid search campaigns that attract potential customers. I mean, those are the three main pillars of digital marketing. Now, the AI game we've been, and how it's going to disrupt our world. We've been hearing that for the last year or so, right? Like it's been everywhere. All the biggest digital marketers have been talking about it. Gary Vee, Neil Patel, and so on and so on. We still don't know what's going to happen. One day we hear, our world is going to change completely. The user behavior, the search behavior is going to change. No one is going to use Google anymore. Everyone is going to start using, the chats and the AI system, the Perplexity, Search GPT, and so on and so on. Yet again, as time goes by, we hear more information, and I guess it always changes. From now on, like the consensus now is that no, Google is still going to stay because Google has accumulated so much data. And especially when it comes to local service businesses, there's no other place for reputation gathering as Google. I mean, frankly, there's Yelp and a few other places, but Google still has a lot more data. And so Google is going to be relevant. But I guess how people search for information is definitely going to change. I think if we can break it down into multiple buckets. So what do people usually search for? Well, first of all, there's informational search, right? When someone is searching, how do I change something? How do I do something? How do I don't know, change a tire? How do I change my coffee filter? Or, how do I build something? That's an informational search. That's where AI systems are going to prevail big time. And Google is adapting, Google is changing their algorithm as well with the implementation and announcement of Gemini, Google Gemini, right? That also shows you the little snippet that shares right away, right on the screen. So you don't have to click anywhere. What do you need to do if you're searching for this type of information? Then there's second type of information, which is the commercial or transactional, which is I am looking for a lawyer or I am looking for a doctor, right? In that case, it signals to ChatGPT or Google or anyone else that this search is for a specific service provider or a product provider, right? So then you're going to have a different type of information, such as a list of lawyers or a list of doctors or healthcare facilities and so on. And I do think that it's still going to stay as is, right? Like, I don't think ChatGPT is just going to give you one name because that's too much on the plate for ChatGPT. What if this one provider is actually not good, right? And all of a sudden, like, all the reputation is now lost. So the reason I'm saying that is just understanding what to focus on. If you think about like the overall search behavior of a user, will help us marketers, will help whoever is listening, whoever's marketer, understand how to adapt our product and where we need to excel.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you brought that up because I was just looking at my phone because I was reading the article and I wanted to make sure I cited the article properly. And they were talking about the same exact thing. You're going to go how SEO is changing in the digital marketing space because SEO, most people are just still optimizing for Google, which is the main 90% of search happens through Google. But what they're starting to see now is an upsurge in AI search engine optimization. The rules of SEO are not changing, but where we're putting our emphasis needs to begin to change. And as digital marketers who's going to be worth their salt, you need to start positioning your conversations to your customers about how to stay relevant, because just being on the first page of Google right now is not enough. So when we talk about the SERP, if we do that right, how does it position us to be able to be just do the same stuff that we're doing for Google, but also position us that whatever transformations happen in, whether it's AI or Bing, let's say tomorrow Bing took over Google, will still be positioned to be successful. What are you telling your clients and customers right about that?
Yeah. So our process, and we haven't developed that. We borrowed from some of the largest marketers. We change our process from optimize for Google to optimize for everything. And what does optimize for everything means is that we need to, previously, let's say in 2023 and beyond, it was fairly simple, right? Like you have certain rules of the game. As long as you do the best practices, you obey Google's policies and so on, you would be ranking, right? If you're really good at it. Now, if you do all the same practices, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the same amount of traffic, the same amount of leads, the same amount of customers, because some portion of users is now not using Google, but they're using other platforms. So our strategy changed to, we have to make sure that our clients are visible everywhere. And there are few core elements to it. Number one, really, really quality content, right? Like the content has to be the king, because there's so much content that's been released, that's been produced by AI, that Google is no longer ranking the content the way it used to rank previously. It looks for really unique, really quality content that has more dwell time. So Google analyzes how much time users actually spend on the content. And if content is interesting, right? The user actually spends time, clicks on the links, reads it, and so on, this content will be promoted. That's number one. Number two, EAT is a huge factor. The authoritativeness, trust, expertise, and all of that. Why is this important? Because once again, Google wants to promote content that's been written by experts. And how does Google know if the content was written by experts? Well, Google needs to look at the bio of the content producer, and if this character, if this bio has been really promoted and everyone's been talking about this bio or this person, this individual, then it must be good. Then this person must be an expert in the field. So that's another core aspect. And then things like you have to be registered. You have to be positioned everywhere, all the different directories, all the different websites, with collections. Let's say if you're, I don't know, let's say you're a roofing company, right? Let's say you're in home service space and you fix roof. Well, to put it in practical terms, write really good content, input your own information, like give them your snippets. Like, what would you do with the roof? Don't let just marketers write it for you. Give them some content, give them some specifics, some personalization for the content. Second, improve your, improve your bio. Like go on podcasts, talk on podcasts like this. Be a star, be everywhere. Thirdly, register everywhere where you can find anything about roofers. Make sure your name is known everywhere. Those are the three main, there are a lot more, but those are the three main pillars, three main core concepts that will help
Let's
you.
land on a registry, because a lot of people don't understand what it means or what it takes to register, because that there's, you know how many businesses never really went in the back end of Google to register their websites?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah. And so people think that, oh, I got a website. So
That's enough, right? But it's not.
That's just the beginning, right? Matter of fact, that may be the last thing you want to do, right? You just actually have the website. You probably need, because all the other things, the connecting in the back end and making sure that it's registered, making sure that Google can its lens towards it. But now we see the playing field getting broader. So what are some of the other places that we need to do that registry? And if you could talk a little bit about what the registering process looks like. Now, I have these conversations all the time, not the registering part. I just want to give you a shout out because we have these conversations all the time about being seen, but never really about really taking the time out and doing the registry and making sure that these search engines are now starting to point towards you, because that's a very important process.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely number one fact would be checking if you have a Google My Business profile and verifying that all the information there is legit and accurate, right? And then um, there are tools, the websites like Yext and so on, where you can very quickly, one tool we use is SEMrush. They now have a collaboration with Yext, where you can very quickly put in your website and it'll, within half an hour, I'll give you a report of all the directories where your business is registered or where your business information is missing. So it's very important to ensure that your information is visible everywhere. And with just one click button.
And what's that website again?
So Yext would be, you can go directly to Yext to do that, or we use SEMrush. SEMrush is a more broader tool for a lot of the SEO research and analytics. It's a great third-party tool where you can dig up a lot of information on your own website and then websites of your competitors. We use it a lot to analyze, our clients' websites versus their competitor websites and so on. So they have a collaboration with Yext. You can also put that information. You can also put in your URL and they'll give you the report.
Now, why is that important to look at our clients and what they're doing and in terms of marketing and all of that? Because a lot of people think, a lot of small business owners are only looking at what they're selling, what they're doing. As marketers, I'm going to take this question in a totally different direction, so just bear with me. As marketers, when you're working with someone who may have some sense of success in their market, they're making some money, but they know that they can do better. And when you start to look at their websites and you start to look at their social posts and you start to look at the things, they're doing what I call using their business to highlight their lifestyle. So you go to their website, they're in front of their car, you go to the social stuff, they're like, oh, we out on the night on the town. So they feel as if I show my lifestyle, that's going to make people want to purchase from me. How difficult is it for you when you have to now become psychiatrists to help them to get off that cliff and show them that, yeah, you may be doing these things, but that's not going to help your selling proposition? How much time do you find yourself spending in that area before you can actually get them to the place where they can scale up?
Yeah. So their ego can definitely get in the way for sure. A lot of our customers, some of our customers are definitely characters. They definitely want their website to reflect their personality. But luckily they have us and we're experts, right? We're their doctors. We're telling them, look, it's great that you want to showcase your personality. It's amazing. You know what? There's actually a place on the website. We'll create a separate section on the About Us page that will talk about your history. How did you get to a place where you are right now? But the website, for the most part, has to be your best sales tool. And let's imagine you hire your salespeople. Their entire objective is to bring customers, right? Their objective is not to spread the word about you around, right? Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to understand why are your potential customers coming to you, what challenges, what objectives do they have, and if you could help them solve those objectives. And that's what the entire website should be built around, like understanding who your buyer personas are, and then creating your website to address those pain points clearly in a very clear sense, knowing what kind of language you need to use. If your audience is, high end, you may need to use some more of a pronounced content, so on. Or your audience might be a little, a little less educated. So you got to be a little straightforward with them. So it really comes down to who buys products or services from you and why. What sort of challenges, issues they're experiencing.
Because we all come in, like, how long have you been doing this?
Too long. We incepted a company in 2008, but really when it took off, it was probably 2012. So give or take about 13 years.
So it's funny.
now.
I was having a conversation, and I'm about to nerd out a little bit with Yvonne about some business stuff. So you guys just listen in as if we're two comrades sitting on a wall just talking business, right? So I have a friend. He wants to start a business, and he's like, "Yeah, I just want to hurry up and get to the money." And he's like going through all of these scenarios, and and I said, "Well, it's going to take us. I would be doing you a disservice, even if you was an expert in business. Every new business is going to take about 4 to 5 years in order for you to really, really know if this is a sustainable business." It's like, yeah, but I can get a contract from here. I said that none of that matters, because what winds up happening is you need a 4 to 5 year run in order to see where your down periods are, where your up periods, so that you can start to formulate, okay, I need to do this for this, I need to do that for that. You're gonna have expenses, stuff is just gonna happen that you can't even imagine in that 4 to 5 year period. Or everyone would do it.
Absolutely. And a lot of businesses, they're not really businesses. They're just
Yeah.
full-time jobs. We have so many prospects coming to us like, hey, can you help us grow our business? So we started asking them questions like, how many employees do you have? Do you have processes in your business and so on? Because if for whatever reason, if your lead flow is going to increase, how are you going to handle it? And in a lot of cases, what we hear is, well, it's just me and, my one other buddy. And it's
Yeah.
not a business. You don't have processes. If something happens to you tomorrow, your business is dead. It's not a business. It's job.
It's that.
Business is when you have a sustainable team that manages set of processes with the amazing team that knows what they need to do on every position, and they have their own standard processes, right? And they know how to operate and so on. Like there's a repeat process, repeat cycle. And I really like the fact, what you said a couple minutes ago about the fact that there are also seasonality aspect, right? And you could be really hot let's say when it's summer, when it's fall and so on, let's say in the roofing business, right? But then all of a sudden you're going to be suffering in the winter because no one changing roofs in the winter, or like it slows down. So you got to be prepared for that. You got to build unit economics. You need to know how to, save up money so you can live through the winter and sustain your business.
Yeah.
And so on.
My first business was construction, and we had to learn that the hard way. I went from commercial to home improvement, and commercial runs yearly. Home improvement, people don't want to start a project and around Thanksgiving. So they may meet with you
Yeah.
before the holiday. And people who are going to spend a substantial amount of money, they want to know where they at and how much they need to focus on, and what they need to. And then they'll say to you after you meet them, they'll say, okay, we're going to start next year around February. And you're like, what?
That's great. But how is this going to help me, right? Like as a company, I need customers.
You can't say, well, can we have a down payment? Because now you're looking desperate.
Yeah. I need some money to support this operation.
So, but that's a part of the process. And what digital marketers have gone through is the fact that during COVID, everyone became a coach. Everyone became a digital marketer.
Yeah.
So now how were you able to sustain your voice or to make your voice unique out of this crowd? Everyone was a digital marketer. Everyone was a coach. And they didn't understand systems, businesses, processes, and all of these things that we're discussing. And people might say to you, "Oh man, I would work with you, but you seem a bit pricey."
Yeah, for sure. Happens. Yeah, I guess, a lot of folks I saw and that definitely started their practice or started their business in COVID era thought that they're always going to see, the same amount of money, the same amount of orders and so on, are now without a job or applying for full-time positions. I don't have a sustainable business. It wasn't, it was a fluke, right? It was a huge influx of money at really one time. It was a historical event if you look at it, right? So some got lucky, some really didn't. I think a lot of people that, thought it's going to sustain them for many years are now not really in
Yeah,
business.
because what happens is one of my favorite movies is The Wizard of Oz. And as long as the wizard was behind the curtain and no one was able to pull up the curtain, you felt intimidated. His voice was big. He had all of his gadgets back there. He was creating things. So if you're stuck and someone gets your ear and they start to tell you things and and those things work, but when you get more complex, and this is what we're talking about, and this is how we're gonna end our conversation. As things begin to get more complex with AI marrying social digital marketing, marrying processes and business, the tentacles start to stretch out. Things start to happen and move and evolve. What are you saying to people to prepare for what's about to happen? We hear no one knows what exactly is about to happen except for The Simpsons. You watch this.
Yeah.
Except
Oh
for the
yeah.
writers of The Simpsons, the rest of us we don't know. So I guess you should watch The Simpsons.
Yeah. I also watch South Park. I think that's a really
Yeah, they know too,
prediction
right?
next
They seem to know
well.
something. So
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
saying to your customer? Because right now I think that and tell me if I'm wrong, and I know my question is a little long. I think that you have an opportunity to look back at your customers, your previous customers, and say, "Hey, are you ready for this?" Right? Because you can now sell back. So what are
Absolutely.
you saying to people, and how are you dealing with what's about to happen where there's a lot of people are thinking that there's going to be a lack of resources, a lack of jobs, that AI is just going to take away everything, and I'm seeing it totally different. I think AI is creating a lot of opportunity.
I think AI definitely creates a lot of opportunities. Just like when computer came out or when the internet came out, everyone was, talking about how internet is going to take over and all of a sudden a lot of people will lose jobs. Well, guess what? A lot of people did lose jobs, especially those that printed yellow pages, but a lot of people actually got jobs, including me. Like my job did not exist when I was born. You know what I mean? So I think it's another opportunity. And what we keep telling our clients is that you got to stick to believable experts. You got to do really, really freaking well what you've been doing. You got to showcase that you're an expert in your own field, and you got to pick the right marketing agency or the right marketing company, so that when things will start changing, they are changing right now. The marketing team in place will navigate you through it and will come up with ideas and come to you and change your package, change your infrastructure or whatever. Will recommend what needs to be done, because the businesses themselves they're not going to be able to figure it out. It's the marketing folks, right? It's the folks that close to it, at the folks that constantly work with it on a daily basis, that read articles, go to different conferences, talk to one another. We are at the front of it all, and we will be the first ones to figure out how to deal with that. Because guess what? We will figure out. The strongest will survive. The stronger agencies, right? And the weakest, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have a really tough competition. You're probably going to sustain some business that's not gonna care about it. But you're not gonna be able
How
to grow.
excited are you about what we see, what we're living through right now?
Very excited. Oh, NaRon, I'm just super excited. And the reason being is, I think we have a really smart, really good team. And anytime you have this big change, it creates massive opportunities. So super excited.
Well, there you have it, everybody. I told you we sit you at the feet of the masters. We have conversations that's geared to elevate your lives. And this conversation is not one that's going to go unheard. Is not one that's going to go away. We're in it. We're in it. And it's so funny. I interviewed someone 2 days ago. I didn't have an interview yesterday. It's the first time in the middle of a week that I haven't had an interview, not one interview all day. So I was able to catch up. My computer crashed. I'm behind on a lot of interviews, getting my podcast up. So I haven't produced a podcast in about a week or so. So next week, well, by the time you're listening now, you already got podcasts. But what happened, I was saying to someone that we're living in history. You're gonna have some people sitting on the
100% agree.
sideline, excuse my language, bitching, moaning, and complaining about it. And you're gonna have others that now become a leading voice. We have an opportunity. I have an opportunity. Yvonne has an opportunity. You have an opportunity to be a leading voice. It doesn't even take, you don't have to know everything about it. Just find one thing that you just want to talk to people about and show people how to navigate through it and fix that one problem. Whether it be learning Python and how to build a bot or an agent, learning prompting and how to build it out. You can fix one problem and change people's lives. What books have impacted you that you would recommend, fiction, nonfiction? Go.
The latest book I read was Working Backwards. It by two Amazon execs. Amazing book. Talks about a lot of the core principles at Amazon that helped them become such a global company. But there are also a couple of my absolute favorites that I, would always recommend, which is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Amazing book. Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. Definitely those two. And 10X is Better Than 2X by Dan Sullivan.
Listen, everybody, you can walk with your head down. You can walk making excuses. You can walk watching history bypass you, saying, oh, I wish I would have put my money in that thing. I wish I would have took a chance. Or you can join us. Yvonne is a part of our Walk in Victory family now, and we walk in victory. We don't ask you for Cash Apps, Venmos, Apple Pays, none of those things. We lead with value, but we do ask you for something very, very small. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on a platform where you can leave a review, we do ask that you would leave that review. Make it 5 stars and give us a nice note. I got a really nice note the other day, so thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
See y'all.